Tonight on the Football Fix, New Zealand football still on the hunt for a new coach. The Knicks get another draw in the capital. How good was Liverpool against Manchester City? Go Mo Salah. And we've got all the highlights from the National League Championship for men and women. Good to have your company here on the KFF, and I'm in the company of a couple of absolute champions tonight on the show. The one, the only, Seamus Martin. We'll get to your credentials shortly, but Ricky Herbert as well. And we need to talk about the football fashion. Ricky, kick it off. Where is this shirt from? Yeah, look, I thought I'd drag this one up. It's year one of the Indian Super League. Wow. I had the opportunity of head coach with North East United, so great to have it on, and it still fits. And so does Seamus's shirt. What are we looking at here, big fella?
Yeah, look, a good friend of mine, Gordon Watson, very proud of his Māori and Scottish heritage, so he's given me this Scotland shirt. It's probably the only one that kind of fits in the wardrobe still. So
that's perfect fit.
And also, look, a tip of the cap to Gordon. He lost his mum recently, so it's a little tribute to Gordon's late mother, Sky Sport commentator, and a familiar voice to a lot of football fans. Okay, well, now I feel terrible for giving you grief about the shirt. People will know you between two beers, right? You're also a footballing personality, Seamus. Give us a bit of background for those who don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've worked in and around international football for a long time. Oceania Football Confederation, New Zealand football in various guises. I was Ricky's media manager in the 2014 road to Brazil. Yeah, look, a whole bunch of different things from World Cups. I think most importantly, five-a-side on a Sunday night with you at the Kohi Marama.
Some real special times with Seamus Martin. We'll talk more about you falling down the stairs at my house a little bit later in the show. Ricky, you must have some pretty good stories about this chap in your setup.
Yeah, I guess 2014, the old campaign, Seamus was there and, yeah, doing a super job. But no, good fella, and good to see him around the community and supporting in all, you know, a whole range of football things. And
of course, we know you as head coach of the Wellington Phoenix, head coach of the All Whites. What are you doing these days, Ricky?
Yeah, I've got a director of football role at Hamilton Wanderers, looking after the technical role at Cambridge Football Club as well, and just as importantly, looking after my own academy, which is going really well around the country. Some super kids out there, boys and girls, loving the game, and great to have the opportunity to work with them as well.
Awesome. I forgot to talk about my football fashion, but it's pretty...
is that a fresh off the rack?
Yeah. Got it like a couple of days ago. Brand new Wellington Phoenix shirt. I've got my name printed on the back, which is a little bit confusing because
it's on the front as well.
It's on the front there. Just put it everywhere, really. Yeah, so loving this shirt. Thanks so much for the delivery, Wellington Phoenix. I actually paid for it. All right. Well, it's awesome that we've got Ricky Herbert here because as a Wellington Phoenix head coach and an All Whites head coach, a bit of chitter-chatter this week around the All Whites head coaching role. Who could it possibly be? Let's hear from some of the key protagonists over the last 7 days.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to anybody from New Zealand football about what the future holds. That's ultimately down to them. We've been through a review, which I'm sure that'll be released fairly shortly. But like I said, that comes down to them.
I think everybody would be absolutely silly if you let this man go. You can see how much he's changed in 12 months. Can you imagine what he can do in 4 years? Well, shadow of doubt, I want him here. The team wants him here. We play better football under him. And if we let him go, I think it's absolutely detrimental to New Zealand football.
And we've got the greatest single group of talent of football there, individual talent, waiting to be maximised, if you like. I think we need to make some adjustments to make sure that environment's just right for them. There was an opportunity to kind of test that, and it's only right, I think, that we go to market.
And I think that's a discussion that needs to be had with New Zealand football and also Wellington Phoenix if it comes to that point. So it's very important, obviously, with our A-League scheduling that you know, if it does even go down that path, that it does happen, the scheduling needs to work where you have to be available for those FIFA windows as well.
And the boss of New Zealand football, Andrew Pragnell, has relegated me to this awesome swivel seat because there's just not enough room on the couch. AP, great to see you. News Talk ZB, New Zealand Herald, Stuff, News Hub. It's quite clear to us that you've saved the best till last, so thanks for that. Was that by accident or design?
Yeah, with these things, you've got to be really strategic, and I thought about this for a while, and you guys came out on top.
Brilliant. Yeah. It's so good to hear. The last 7 days for you, how's it been, mate? And what's the best and worst correspondence you've received since knowing that Danny Hay is no longer going to be the All Whites coach?
Great questions. It's been interesting, actually. It's actually been good, to be honest. Lots of opinions, but we like that. I always say with football, there's more passion in football than any other sport in this country, hands down. And decisions like this and the way that they fold out drive a lot of opinions. And then you know that you've got a fan base that's not apathetic. I'll take that any day over a number of other sports in this country. So that's been good. No specific hate mail on this one.
Any address from S. Martin or...?
He normally cuts his letters out of the newspaper, so I've seen them before. We know when they arrive from Melville and they're straight in the bin.
You know me too well, AP, but you didn't get the shirt memo. Although I do see a little gift next to you.
Yeah, look, I have bought one of the new shirts with the retro kit, and this is a gift if we can pass it along for whoever receives it.
Oh, Seamus, you can chuck it on if you want.
No, that's okay. It looks like it's a medium, so I might just pass that over.
Okay,
You're getting all the shirt deliveries this week, Goran.
It's very kind of you, mate.
It's stretchy as well, Seamus.
Has anyone just unsolicited just approached you about the role?
Yes, yep. So this is a daily occurrence regardless of where we're at in terms of the role being filled. It's sort of, there are a lot of mercenaries in football, so CVs roll in on a daily basis regardless. But yeah, in the last week there's been an influx.
Any names you'd care to share with us right here, right now on The Fix?
Not at this point. So none of the names that have been floating around in the media, obviously. But there's a lot of opportunists out there and yeah, people are not holding back.
It's an interesting one, right? Because you're staring down the barrel potentially of qualification to a World Cup in 2026. I think every coach around the world would love the opportunity to participate in that. It must be a highly sought-after role now. Are people banging on the door wondering when applications are going to open?
Yeah, and they open today. Just putting that out there. But yes, I think it is highly sought after. Obviously, there's both the Olympics and the World Cup, and the pathways change. That's very attractive. Equally, the top tier coaches in professional football and international football are paid in a number of the larger football associations a lot more than we're able to. So there's an element of passion, and I think something that we need to look at closely is what's your connection to the country? What is your rationale and motivation? Because there's a lot of people who jump on the bandwagon, but whether or not they've got the connection to the team and the country is important as well.
So is that a selection criteria? Is that kind of connection to New Zealand?
It's not a specific criteria, but I think what we'd say is that you'd have to show that you're able to adapt to new environments. So clearly, Kiwi culture is important to us. It's important to everyone on this sofa. It's important to this country. It's important to our players. So whether a coach with international experience has shown that they can adapt to new environments and integrate well, then I think that's good. But equally, if there's a stronger connection to the country, then great.
Hey, Ricky, we've seen Ufi Tale at the Knicks put his hand up a couple of days ago. Can you tell us, from your point of view, how challenging was it doing both the Wellington Phoenix and All Whites head coaching roles?
Yeah, look, it's a great point, and I think I'm a little bit like AP. I think it's great when it's out in the media and people are, going to have opinions. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's, I look back at my tenure now. It got me on the grass, day to day, and I think that's really important, given the limited opportunities you're just naturally going to have in the windows. It gave me the opportunity to bring national team players back. And if I roll the clock forward, 2010, 4 players played every single game at the World Cup, including against the current world champions, Italy. And there would have been the 5th one in Tim Brown had he not got injured on the way to the World Cup. So, the positives, I think, are the challenges for me personally as a coach, but I really embraced that and really sort of appreciated the opportunity to do that. Back then, there were no windows that we could go, great, we've got some time, we can leave. I mean, we were sending 6, 7 players, 2 or 3 staff, and the Phoenix kept rolling on. And just in that season alone, I mean, 2009, 2010, we probably had the best season to date by going through to the preliminary final. So, I think it's got a recipe. Did it always continue to be successful? Probably not, but in my eyes, I think it's got a lot of merit, and that's not pro the current coach. It'd be interesting to see who else applies, but I think just solely from a relationship, players, culture, on the pitch, coach training all the time, potentially national team players under your guidance. I think it's got a great recipe. I mean, let's face it, it has worked.
AP, have you been in touch with Uffy? Obviously, it's sort of playing out in the media a little bit, but have you picked up the phone, called him, or the other way around?
No, I haven't talked to Uffy direct. Obviously, I talked to the Phoenix a fair bit, and so I sort of knew this might be coming. And I think Ricky makes a really good case there. There are some challenges, no doubt, but there's some obvious strengths. So, yeah, look, it would be crazy not to look at it. Obviously, there'll still be there is a process, and you know, there'll still be formal channels, and the application's live today, and so it'll be interesting to see if it comes through.
AP, there's been a lot of mail around players, particularly voicing their opinions as well. What's the communication been like from NZF to the playing group after the wake of Danny's departure? Yeah,
so obviously there's been a fair amount of correspondence. There's a group of players that or some individual players I talk with directly, and I think that's really healthy. I think more and more, upon reflection, I need to be doing that more and more. And there's a very wide spectrum of views. We'll have a full kind of team discussion direct with the players in a couple of weeks, because actually, you know, obviously the media attention is on the head coach role, but actually there's a bunch of recommendations in there that are going to be really useful to make sure that we not only do well in Paris, but also do really well at the 2026 World Cup.
I was watching some vision a couple of days ago of New York Comic-Con, I think it was, and there was this wonderful reunion between Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. And it got me thinking, well, why don't we go back to the future and get Ricky Herbert involved? Because, you know, you're still, obviously, you've got the academy, Ricky, you've been there, you've done that, all the experience in the world. Have you thought about tapping up the man on your right-hand side?
This feels like a setup.
Oh, no, it just came to me naturally.
I love the no response.
Yeah. He's right there, man. Just ask him. Does he want to do it?
Look, I think if I can jump in, I think, you know, I'm happy to pick the phone up, ring Andrew and take him through. Look, you know, 9 years of being in the national team role, I mean, there were a lot of fantastic moments and a lot of challenging moments and a lot of disappointing moments. But, you know, 9 years of experience and understanding what that environment can look like, who knows? I'm not saying that, but to support in perhaps other areas.
It was something to come out of the review, right, is a closer connection with what's gone before, professional players, those sorts of things. So have you had any unsolicited feedback from any of the former players or anybody Kiwis that are involved in professional football all around the world on what you could or how you could approach it?
Yeah, so I've been in touch with a few, and I think to Ricky's point, and Ricky's a great example of someone to reach out to, because some of the challenges he faced working with the organisation, although we've evolved quite a bit since then, I think some of them are still there. And actually, some of those challenges are actually part and parcel of international football when you get your players spread out around the world, when they don't play enough at home. So some of those things are things we can address. One of those is by playing them at home more regularly, which you'll be delighted to hear is going to happen. Playing more regularly, which again would have been a challenge for Ricky back in the day. But I think taking the advice, particularly you know, on things like the job share, but equally how can we connect better in with the team? Yeah, we need to have more conversations about that type of stuff.
Have you thought about a co-coach as well? So like have a dual coach's role, not just one person. Obviously, you used to have a head coach and assistants underneath. What about myself and Seamus Martin? Just, you know, like would be great for the morale. Seamus knows the players pretty well. I go okay, I think.
I didn't realise applications had opened today. I better go and get that together and get that in quick.
Yeah,
quick, smart.
Andrew said it earlier in the interview that they had, but good to see that you're paying attention. I did like a very entry-level coach's certificate at Monaco Institute of Technology back in 1999. I think it could be quite valuable for the All Whites.
I think it's been received, guys, but I'm not sure it's been filed. So we'll just park that one.
Yeah, we do reference checks. So I just want to flag that at this really early stage.
Reference checks?
Police vetting.
Well, I did just get pulled over by the police on the way here.
Yeah, you did actually.
Yeah, I was doing 65 and a 50. Have you got anything else?
Not on our joint coaching application, no. It doesn't seem like it's been very well received at all. I think we just shelved that and stick to, you stick to presenting and I stick to podcasting.
Yeah, I do it so well, don't I?
There is another vacant role at the moment, and it's the general manager of high performance. Is that to be appointed before the coach? Does that, whoever comes into that position, have an influence on who the next coach will be?
Yes, so that we're on the current trajectory, that should be appointed before the head coach. And actually that working relationship is really important, both from resourcing the team and making sure we're all aligned through the organisation. So, yep, they'll definitely have some input into it, and decision should be made in the next couple of weeks.
What happens, I suppose this is a hypothetical, but when you open things up like this and you've got ideas of who you want to get involved, and maybe they do want to put their name in the hat, maybe circumstances mean that they can't. What happens when you get to the end of the recruitment or the application process and the applicants don't exceed the qualities of the most recent coach, Danny Hay? Is the door absolutely closed on Danny continuing in that role, or is it slightly ajar?
That's a good question. Certainly, I'm expecting some really high quality applicants. So if that were to happen, then typically you'd go back to market in normal instances. And so if he's given it some thought and wanted to come back in, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be ruled out for sure. But I think I am expecting really high quality applicants. I'll be devastated if we don't. And obviously there's a few names already floating out there as well.
Ricky, what did you make of Danny's tenure? It was quite interrupted given the whole COVID break, but what he did with this team and the style of football he had them playing.
Yeah, look, I think it was always going to be a little bit difficult through that period, but I think just with the national team set up, you're geographically where you are. The windows are X. You're going to get that amount of football for that potential amount of time. And if we remove COVID, I think, a World Cup cycle is about getting the team, getting them to the finishing line and getting it over the line. And I think, that's only happened twice and it's easy to say, but I think, I'm sure from a New Zealand football perspective, that needs to be the driving force for 2026. And, I don't think we should assume we're going to be at the World Cup. But, we need to be there and be prominent and win games, because I think we need to see the expansion, the development, the progress around what the country's doing. So, yeah, look, I think Danny had some challenges. I don't know contractually, that's not my space, but, I think he was passionate, his heart was on the sleeve. But at the end of the day, it's about getting a World Cup over the line. And winning football matches, and we didn't see that, but there is some talent coming. There's no doubt about that.
And Seamus, just lastly, if you were able to pick your best option, would it be somebody like a Des Buckingham?
Come on, Seamus.
Would it be Des Buckingham? Because as AP says, somebody with a connection to New Zealand, and he has that.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's no secret to anyone out there watching that I've worked very closely with Des. I was Des's team manager on the Under-20 campaign, on the start of the Under-23 campaign. Look, I know Des is very passionate about returning to New Zealand. He's got a big job at the moment with Mumbai City. But I can't speak on his behalf, but I'm pretty sure you'll receive an application with Des Buckingham's name on it sometime forward, and I'm sure he would be very proud to pick up the mantle and take that forward if he had the opportunity.
Why is he so good in your eyes?
Oh, look, I think he's got great relationship management skills with the players, with the staff. He's an inquisitive guy by nature. I think he came to New Zealand on a whim and adopted it as his home. I don't think he ever wanted to leave New Zealand, but an opportunity presented itself, which, it's a sliding doors moment. He's been able to pick up great experience through the City Football Group, through Melbourne City and through Mumbai City. I should maybe write a CV, actually,
yeah.
the way I'm,
Are you
the way I'm going.
all this?
Yeah, recording it.
Yeah,
if the cover letter looks anything like this, it was penned by me. But no, look, I can't speak highly enough of him. But there are also a lot of other people that I've had the privilege of working with. Gentlemen on my left, I've worked with Neil Emblin, Darren Baisley, Jose Figueira.
God, name dropper.
Sometimes you need to flex. You guys are giving me enough criticism about how tight my shirt is, but
you
there's
brought
a
it
lot
up
of
initially,
people.
so
There's a lot of people out there in football land who are very, very well connected to New Zealand. Have got a lot of great experiences. So I'm sure whoever you choose will be a fantastic candidate.
All right, Andrew, so good luck with selecting Des Buckingham, and thanks so much for coming in and having a chat with us on the Kiwi Football Fix.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. And listen, we can't we can't understate the importance of the man in red on the couch and what he did for New Zealand football, both with the Wellington Phoenix and the All Whites. Let's take a look at some of his fantastic highlights. Ricky, the Herbinator Herbert.
That's a great ball in front, Smith, a chance, they've equalised! New Zealand have equalised! Can you believe it? That is unbelievable. Good delivery, Elliott, a chance, New Zealand, they've scored! New Zealand lead! Incredibly, the All Whites lead the Azuri. How proud must Ricky Herbert be of his players? They did everything he's asked of them. The dying stages. Is there a last-minute goal? Still there for New Zealand. Smith, they've done it! Tommy Smith for the All Whites! New Zealand lead! The All Whites will win the Oceania World Cup qualifying group.
Some outstanding memories there. Ricky, what's it like for you watching vision of yourself celebrating in that manner all these years later?
Well, I've got to look at the pace, really, Goran. You know, get down that touchline. I was quite impressed with that, really. But yeah, look, unbelievable moments. Just moments that are going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Just to celebrate a team performance and scoring on the world stage against some of the best players in the world. And that was the most important thing for me. It was just a huge group of players that every time they went out, they excelled. They played with passion and pride, and I guess I felt that connection in a moment, and quite rightly celebrated.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, it's pace that I can only dream of at the moment with my hamstring injury, and I think, Seamus, you're a little bit quicker than me at the minute. So.
I was quick in 2010 as well, like Ricky was, so yeah, maybe not so much now.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Ricky's other team, the Wellington Phoenix. They secured a 2-2 draw up against the Central Coast Mariners at the Cape Town Sky Stadium on Sunday just gone. And it's time for the three nicks. That's the three picks of the Wellington Phoenix. And we start off with VAR out, because the VAR decision that took forever, and I think we can accept now that there was a technical glitch. It wasn't great, but the thing about it, Seamus, is that there's no communication to the players, no communication to the people in the stands. It's just an utter confusing moment for everybody involved.
Yeah, I was in the stadium that day as well, and you're sitting there as a fan and you're watching replay. You can see what the call should be, but no call is being made. It was incredibly frustrating, and there was no comms as to what was going on and what happened. Eventually the right decision was made, but it does slow down your match day experience, that's for sure. Yeah,
Ricky, do they need to think about, I don't know, getting somebody on the PA and telling people what's going on?
Yeah, I think the context of the VAR for me is, I think ideally was to, speed the game up, get decisions correct. But, I think we've seen for a period of time now where it takes a lot of time. Referees are still getting engaged a lot of the time to go and review things and watch it on the TV monitor. When you've got people sitting up the top that can instantly make a decision, and I think like Seamus says, you can be a spectator sitting in the crowd going, that's the decision, and 5 minutes later it actually is that decision. So just crowd appeal, for what's happening. And I think communication. I think get on the mic and tell people, because it's the connection with the fans that I think is the one that's pulling away. The frustration of the coaches, totally get it. Totally get it, that they're going to get some and not get some, but, it's the fan connection for me that needs to improve.
We see in other sports the umpires or the officials are mic'd up. I just wonder how that would go down if they are live and it's going out to the stadium. And it is
not all the time, Seamus.
Guys, we got no feed. We've got no feed here. What's going on? And the panic that might set in on the field as to the realisation that, oh gosh, we don't have comms back with Sydney. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. I don't know how that would have gone down, but for sure, let's hope it's an isolated incident and it doesn't happen in any of the matches coming up.
If they are mic'd up and then there's a contentious call throughout the game, players coming up and questioning those calls could be, you'd have to go into the stadium with an R18 warning, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we were lucky enough to play the curtain raiser that day, and definitely if there's not that many people in the stadium, some of the colourful language can definitely reverberate around around that structure. Yeah, sorry for swearing, everybody. That was me. At Seamus. All right, point number 2, a right pain for Tim. Tim Payne, is he
a right back, or is he a centre back that's just been displaced? Because Ricky, a couple of times, in fact, it led up to both Mariners' goals. He was, I don't know, he lost possession and the Mariners made it count. Is he just playing out of position for you? Does he serve a purpose out on the right? Should Ufi Tele think, well, look, let's play him in the middle of the park and I've got to decide, is it Scott Wootton, Josh Laws or Tim Payne for me?
Yeah, I think, you know, again, I think just an opinion. I think, you know, Tim's probably getting bred in now as a guy who can do a job in various amounts of positions. Does he have a want to play at fullback or centrally in the middle of a back four? Not sure. Personally, I'd play him in a back three. And I think just have him operating on that right-hand side with the other two experienced central defenders. And, you know, I think that would give, you know, his ability to still engage and do things going forward. I know he likes to get forward and he's very competent and technically very good on the ball. But I think it would give him that window of kind of comfort and assurity on what that role looks like. And if you're playing well, if you're in, if you're not, then you're replaceable. And I think he just sits in that option window at the moment, and we probably saw that a little bit with the All White team as well.
Mm. Right back's been a challenge since you had the All Whites way back when, hasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, before we played Bahrain, we'd been playing a back four, and I think, you know, we looked at the opposition and went, don't think our fullbacks are good enough. Let's play a back three. And, you know, Winston Reid, Ryan Nelson, Tommy Smith. You know, we're going back 2010, but, you know, wow, that's probably the strongest back three central defenders that we've had in the global part of our game. So, yeah, that was a good time, good period for me with such talent. But I kind of think that could be something that could resonate at the Phoenix.
Point 3 of our 3 Nicks, the life of Brian Kaltak. How did we let this guy slip? At the age of, 27, he makes his A-League debut, Seamus, and he looked like he belonged. He looked physically fit, dominating, scary. Yeah, look, a great guy, first and foremost, who's always had a dream to play professional football. And I think Ricky can speak to this. He had him in his younger years down in Wellington, but he's never let go of that dream. He's been dedicated, honed his craft, and now he's getting his opportunity. And I speak as well as someone from the Pacific. I think it's fantastic role modelling for Pacific Island players, but also, you know, players that are in our own national league, that it's not that far off. You know, Brian was playing for Auckland City last season in the Northern League before we had the National League, and, you know, he seems to have made that transition seamlessly. So, you know, Ricky, you had him as a young player. Did he have that desire even back then?
Yeah, look, I thought he was a super talent, and I think, you know, go back to my era in the Phoenix, one team. We didn't have a reserve team. We didn't have an academy. You couldn't position players. So you externally had these sort of 20, 22-odd players you were balancing, and some players didn't play at all, you know, throughout the season. So it was a difficult time period. Roll the clock forward now. You'd be challenging to say, wasn't Brian Kaltak good enough to be part of that setup, to be evolving into the first team at some point? Quite clearly now with the Mariners, he's going to be a bit of an institution. And, you know, I've said that to 2 or 3 other players coming out of the island countries, that, you know, just the opportunity to be in that environment where they can be positioned, maybe put into a second team and evolved into the A-League first team. Great chance for them because they're great athletes, you know, technically very, very good, powerful on the ball. Great opportunity, but well done to Brian. Like, he's stuck there. As you said, Goran, 27 years of age, and he's rolling out. He's got himself a top pro contract at a promising club, Central Coast, really good club.
Yeah, indeed. Now, look, I was sitting in the stands watching the curtain raiser, Wellington Phoenix Reserves up against Seamus's Melville United, and I saw what can only be described as an altercation, a savage attack. Nixie, the Wellington Phoenix mascot, and a cameraman.
Ooh.
And he's saying, well, hang on a minute. I don't like that. Ruffling up the feathers.
Is that Jacob Spoonley?
Yeah, Jacob Spoonley does nothing.
Just letting that play out in front of him.
Yeah.
Disgraceful.
Which one's Jacob?
He's in Nixie's suit, yeah. I mean, how can you stand there and not do a thing if you're Jacob Spoonley? I know he doesn't want to get his hair and his makeup all mucked up before the Wellington Phoenix Mariners game, but, you know, the makeup artist can redo that sort of thing. You know, there was time.
There was time. Spoonley is... I can't believe he's let that go. Passenger.
You'd have to challenge it, wouldn't you?
I don't know if we saw it in that vision, but right at the end you see the bird flipping the bird.
Well, that doesn't fly. That's a yellow card straight away.
Yeah.
If not for the unsportsmanlike conduct.
Straight red?
Could be. 3 weeks.
Straight red. Probably go to the panel.
VAR, we're still waiting for a decision.
Yeah, I don't know if we saw any savage attacks like that in the Women's National League Championship, but plenty of goals. Let's start up the goal rush here on the Kiwi Football Fix.
Brown, looking for the pace of Wazzy. She drives, running it first. Looks to take her on, shot into the corner, and it is a fantastic strike. Good feet there by Morrow. Goes with the left foot, looking for the bottom corner, and it's in! Good run here by Dwell, early impact. Kelly Brown on the ball. And she's gone near post, and it has gone in between the legs of Una Foyle. Brown making her way back onto the field. Dangerous delivery. Una does well to come out and collect. Parries it. And it has slipped through the crowd. Foster with the delivery. Finding the back of the net. Northern Rovers beating Canterbury United Pride 4-1.
Capital look for the long ball up towards Bacon, who finds herself in a bit of space. She's got Oliver Bell in the middle there, and she's managed to find her. Can she score? She can! The opening goal. Richards, rather, takes it to the corner. Finds Bloomfield at the top of the box, who pushes it past the defender, and she goes down. The referee has pointed to the spot, and it will be a penalty. Bloomfield, and it's a great save by Simmons onto the bar, but it falls kindly to Bloomfield, who has a second chance. Georgia Martin with a nice touch to control it and get United back on the ball. Philpott looking for another long ball as well. Falls to Bree Johnson. Has a bit of space in front of her to run, and she gets past the Capital defence and slips it through to the back post. Oliver Bell, she finds Deronda, sees her captain out on the right, screaming forward with a bit of space. She's into the box. Can she put a good ball in? She can! Here's Bawala, who goes for the strike over the top of Simmons, and what a goal that is! The fantastic strike from outside of the box. That's a good ball over the top, and it looks like Olsen's running through. She gets past the keeper. Can she turn it in? She can! Patterson stepped up, led the defence here. Johnson now skipping past Chung. What can she deliver? She finds Bawala, who strikes the post, and it trickles in. Balls to her again out on the right-hand side. She looks to deliver. It's a good ball to the back post, and it's in! Give me Oliver Bell! A point for Capital. They somehow come out of this with a point.
Jackson now. Looking for the far post. Yoshida with the free header. Taylor couldn't. O'Brien at it was Juliet Lucas smashing that one home from close distance for Suburbs.
Wilfred Carroll. Sheeta finding Jackson.
Oh, she does well.
Jackson pushing through. Has a shot. Just wide.
That one is just lovely. Bit of skill.
Looking for some movement from her players. She's not seen as much as she'd like, I don't think. Nicole Metum putting it into the mixer. Can
looking for Jade Paris.
Paris score? She's pretty good with the boot.
We see the ball here from Meta, just on her chest from Jade Paris, but she was able to squeeze the shot in full time here at Medill's Farm. Eastern Suburbs running at winners 1-0.
It's a good touch. Garcia. Good ball, and Chelsea through now. There's Hirano, and she's got it. Hirano just trying to link up here, and a terrific score for Western Springs. Kleinsman in there for Central. It's still there. And it's an equaliser. Madison Hughes has got the goal. It's nice work from Tafaru. Great ball. Here's a big chance. Here's a big chance. She's just going to walk it in. Rina Hirano. Garcia trying to win it again. She might have switched over to the right again, and Garcia shrugged off her marker. Big chance here for Western Springs. It's a third goal. Peterson. Oh, it's fallen here. Here's Hirano. Here's Hirano. It's another one. The defence just dropping off a little bit. It's Hirano again, almost getting through. The defences there of Newland. Here's the opportunity for Hirano in the area. Good play from Innes. It's another goal. Jess Innes has got her second. It's going to do it. Western Springs have got another win, and they win by 5-1.
Plenty of goals in the women's comp as per usual. Let's talk English Premier League now, though, and Liverpool over Manchester City. Never thought I'd see the day that Manchester City lost, especially with that robot up front. But 1-0 at Anfield, Liverpool victorious over Pep Guardiola's men. And Thiago, at one point, Seamus, booted Erling Haaland in the crotch, but because he's an android, he doesn't feel that.
Yeah, you're really pushing that robot agenda, aren't you? And this does nothing to dissuade that opinion, does it?
He feels nothing, Ricky. You know, I think the CPU is actually stored where testicles and genitals would ordinarily be on an individual, but yeah, no dramas.
Doesn't look like it, but he's got puffy cheeks, so I think there's something going on there.
Yeah, it looks like he felt something.
He's got something there.
Yeah, that's all to do with programming by Elon Musk. Right, and the programming, it extends to the fact that, look, people are starting to get a little bit suspicious, and so if I program Haaland to not score at Anfield, it throws people off the scent.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory. I've seen games before where he hasn't scored as well, but yeah, I think a lot of people got him in their fantasy team, haven't they? Just a goal-scoring machine in that fantasy football.
Let's talk about goals. One, we only needed one to get the job done. Yes, I'm a Liverpool supporter. Let's take a look at Mo Salah and how he turned and went the length of the field, basically. Ricky, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, look, he's absolute quality in it, and I think, you know, just previous to this one, he had a great opportunity where the keeper made a terrific save, but this time, Salah just getting in behind, and, you know, the City defender will be just so disappointed. I mean, he looks to try and intercept. I mean, it's a half-pie challenge for a player of that quality, but you get Salah one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Whilst he's missed one previously, this one was an absolute given. And I thought Liverpool well worth the result against, you know, a very, very strong City side, as we know. And great to see Liverpool back, though. And I think the passion on the sideline between Guardiola and Klopp, just amazing. And just trying to generate that sort of atmosphere in the fans, challenging everyone's decisions.
Did you have a coaching rival like that? Did you have your Guardiola if you were Klopp? Carlos Bazzetti?
Yeah, well, yeah, probably through the A-League. I probably had one or two enemies, to be fair, but good enemies and some good mates. But yeah, look, I think you've got to feel that passion, you know, and I think it, you know, that can translate. And you know, they're controlled guys, obviously, at the highest level. But you know, I think that resonates out. You know, the fans were there. They're challenging the VAR decisions. They're not showing. You know, like it had everything for me. You know, two just amazingly top quality sides. But one really quick thing, guys, I thought, you know, when you look at both of those teams, you can ring fence technically good, look after the ball, possession-based. But I tell you what, they go from back to front so quickly at times that they just have that change of football analogy that just is too good for the majority of teams in that league. And, you know, the way that Haaland's playing and the delivery and you know, that sort of quick counter-attack is just terrific to watch.
Now, Seamus, Salah scored after Manchester City could have gone ahead. They had a goal for Phil Foden ruled out for a previous foul in the build-up. Shades of All Whites v Costa Rica earlier in the year, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, how far back do you go on some of these ones? It's another VAR on the weekend. It's a shame that we talk so much about VAR and we're not talking as passionately about the game as Ricky does there. But yeah, look, I think Man City were probably rightly feeling like they'd taken the lead there and only to be snuffed out.
Mate, there were two fouls in the build-up. Two fouls, Ricky. There was a foul on Fabinho and a foul on Allison.
Yeah, I think, the context of that for me, if you're going to be fair right across the board, I mean, he's dragged the player down. And I think we had that debate months ago about the all-white Costa Rica game. It's, how far do you go back? Then you're looking at another engagement. Has the front player made contact with the goalkeeper? Ball rebounds, comes free, manages to score. Referee stops play, VAR jumps in again. We go back, but we go way back to the the play where the player's been brought down. Are you kind of saying, referee, have you played on? Have you allowed that advantage to be continued, and now you're coming back to have that disadvantage? But hey, I'm not a referee, obviously, quite clearly. But I think again, it's topics, it's passion, it's opinions. But I think all we ever ask for is that simplicity word. Just give us that consistency.
Gentlemen, I'm pleased to say that I've got Wood. Chris Wood. He played 12 minutes for Newcastle United up against Manchester United at Old Trafford. So good to see him on the field. I just wish that we'd see him more, Seamus.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be at another game at Old Trafford where Woodsy played. We played against Egypt and some bloke Salah scored at the other end and Woodsy scored the equaliser for New Zealand at the Olympics. But yeah, look, his currency is goals. He hasn't potted one in a little while now. Maybe he does need more time on the pitch. Yeah, maybe if you go back to that one. How far back do you go on that? But look, I know he's scored goals wherever he's been, and he'll be desperate to put a couple in the back of the net, I'm sure.
Yeah, champion player. I mean, you're not playing at that level for so long for any other reason than you're a quality player. And yeah, look, I think Chris back in that environment, I mean, he can operate that 6-yard box. He's powerful, he's strong. And yeah, I mean, not a lot of minutes. And sure, we'd love to see him a lot more on the pitch, but yeah, hopefully that can transpire sooner rather than later.
And of course, we haven't mentioned Arsenal. They're top by 4 points, but who cares really? We're all about Liverpool here on the couch. Let's get the Men's National League Championship highlights now. We'll start off with the big game, Birkenhead United up against Auckland City FC.
Oh. Auckland City are both lucky, but they still give possession away. So shooting opportunity, deflection, just hits the post. And on the rebound, they've scored early. This is a stunning opening from Birkenhead, and it's their captain, Sam Burfoot.
So influential, both going forward and in midfield for Birkenhead.
Half volley chance, and they've got a second here. The final touch might be the crucial one. Get a second chance, albeit it's very central, so they do go wide on the angle, trying to create something. Brotherton, and they've scored. Well, there is the lifeline back into the game. Tade, heavy first touch, maintains possession. Tade, near post, what an equaliser! You are a magician. Oh my goodness, Harry Nata, how does he find room here? So it's Birkenhead United 2, Auckland City 2.
Out of their defensive end now. That's a great ball from Schofield. Goaltoa's onto this one for Napier City. It's a no goal. Can you believe it? Here's Sapantavong. Miramar continuing to keep this pressure on. Long range shot this time off the crossbar. Sam Black for Napier. Abba. Still has it. Andrew Abba. Switches it over to Leopard. Leopard puts it in for 2-0. Napier City Rovers and Christian Leopard. Corner taken that time, and Abba can break out here. Kennedy won it back for Miramar Rangers. Bevan got back on side. That's a dangerous ball. It's still there, and it's scrambled in. Test a free kick for Miramar. Flick on, and ball. It's a penalty. Sam Mason-Smith, Miramar. Really good game of National League action for you in round 3.
Kamata here has gone in. It's a goal. Fantastic strike from the Japanese player. William Pearce plays forward. Wilkinson outside him as well. Here is Edward Wilkinson looking for a cross across the face, a goal, and it's a goal. He's what a What a strike from Ed Wilkinson. Napuka looks for a shot. Back weight there. Finished 1 goal apiece.
We'll get more highlights from the Men's National League shortly, but first of all, Seamus, let's talk about the Women's Under-17 campaign. Group B was really tough for them. You know, some of those score lines, they almost flattered the youngsters, didn't they? Yeah, Leon Burney and the team will be disappointed with that campaign. I think the one highlight, Millie Clegg, both goals for New Zealand team. She can't stop scoring at the moment. She scored a goal, you know, the only goal for the under-20s at their World Cup as well. But yeah, look, it's a bit of a come down from the last under-17 performance in Uruguay, where New Zealand came away with bronze. But you can put a number of excuses in there. But unfortunately, the team just wasn't in the same level as their opponents through that group stage. Ricky, you were watching the match against Germany. What was happening at the end of that?
Yeah, look, I think before that, Goran, I think I felt a bit disappointed because I helped out with the draw. So pulled out Germany and Nigeria. Yeah. We'll put those groups together. But anyway, yeah, look, I think at the end, I mean, having coached in India, I know what it's like. And if there's lightning or some thunder in the, you know, parameter of where the pitch is, I think it's well in the control of the referee to make that decision solely based on health and safety of everybody concerned.
We've got a World Cup on New Zealand shores and Australian shores as well next year. Seamus, do you think any of these young women will be able to make the step up in time for that tournament? I think it'll be tough, but I think we've got the opportunity to blood them. I think Jitka Klimkova, you know, with 2 home internationals next month, has the opportunity to bring those players into camp and to see how they go. We've seen it on the men's side with the All Whites about bringing younger players through and seeing how they adjust. And I think the comforts of home might maybe make that transition from, you know, age group football to senior football a bit more possible. But we're running out of runway before the World Cup next year, and we need goals at that senior level. And you know, someone like Millie Clegg is putting them in at age group level. So who knows? Maybe if she has an opportunity at senior level, she could do that as well. I suppose the runway was slightly extended the other day, Ricky. News that we'll be playing Portugal in February. How do we stack up against them?
Yeah, like I think all those international games are going to be challenging for us, but you know, we've got to be competitive, we've got to be better, and we get the chance. And I think that's the most important thing for me. I love it when we have our national teams, you know, male or female, go and play some of the best countries in the world, because that's the level, that's the experience that we want to be able to provide for these players. And I think the senior women's team are going to get that with the Portuguese side. Probably a different type of style leading into the World Cup, where, you know, predominantly we should get a good draw.
Not if you're doing it. If you're involved with battling.
Look at which one are you going to pull out. But, you know, the way it's going to be seeded with us being a co-host. So bring it on. I think those challenges, and I think just off the back of Seamus with the 17 young ladies team, I think we're too next for them. You know what I mean? You provide this experience. Yeah, it was challenging, it was daunting, and it was difficult. But where to now? And I think that's the question mark we need to be asking. How can we provide something substantial for these players that can drive them through to the senior level and give us a very, very strong senior women's team?
All right, let's rip into the remaining highlights from our Men's National League Championship. We've got the Wellington Phoenix reserves in the Cakes in Sky Stadium up against Seamus Martin's Melville United.
Now Beale on the edge of the area. Sheridan drives baseline, gets a nice ball in, and a clever, crafty headed, almost crept in. Delivery towards the back post. Up they go, headed out! Did it cross the line? Wow. Trinaretta says thank you. Olskin 1, maybe 2. Lays it off. Driving shot from Hughes, was it? Kai, in fact. Wins it back. Through ball. Suntek shoots into the top corner! That is sumptuous! Smashes one in, helped on. Foul at the top of the area. A penalty has been awarded. Oh, what a moment. calmly puts this one into the back of the net, and Melville United have their first goal, not of this game, but of the National League. As this game finishes, the Wellington Phoenix 1, Melville United 1.
Puts his defence under a bit of pressure. Here's Coughlin. Almost shaped for the shot, but darts away, goes for it now. Here's Olympic again, though, through Randall. Running at Story, he moves on to his left boot. He puts the ball in, and it's pushed in by Jack Henry Sinclair. Jesse Randall finds an Olympic midfielder who smashes it into the crossbar. Charkis finds Gould. See Sinclair on the right, who delivers the ball to Bazookas, who buries the header. Looking for the long ball. Sinclair's onside here. He puts his foot through it and finishes it in the bottom corner. An outstanding finish. Here's Sinclair advancing forward again. His time finds Gould, who puts his foot through it and finds the crossbar. The Wellington Olympic walk away with 3 goals.
Good to see Melville secure their first point of the competition, Seamus.
Yeah, it's a couple of losses in the first 2 rounds. It's always challenging, but I think in that one the result outweighed the performance. Probably not the best performance from what the Melville team is capable of, but happy to come away from a point and a great day. A great opportunity to be involved in an A-League match day. It puts a little bit of extra pressure on, that's for sure. But I know the playing group enjoyed the experience. It was a long day. Cheers to New Zealand football for making it the longest day possible before we got home, leaving at 6 a.m. back at midnight. But
you ungrateful bastard.
Hey, you know, sometimes you just got to say what you got to say.
Oh dear. Well, the only thing more important than Melville's first point of the competition is my hamstring, because last week I was lucky enough to be at the NZCIS facility that the Wellington Phoenix call home, and this happened. So I've just been teed up a butte by Ben Wayne.
What's your thoughts on the technique here, Ricky?
Hiya!
Yeah.
That's when the right hamstring blows.
I'm just wondering where the goal was.
And now this is the photo. So for all of those people out there, that's a hamstring. It's a terrible looking leg. And I need to get some sunlight on there. Goodness gracious me. Jeez. But yeah, so for all those people out there who were saying, Paladin, you're full of crap, it was staged for the show. It absolutely was not. Look, I'm wearing shorts today. Don't know if you noticed this, but I was wearing shorts because look at that. There you go. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that?
It's like a dark swollen plum.
Bit of makeup.
A bit of makeup on the thigh, you reckon?
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I need to do some work on my legs, don't I?
Yeah, I think the wizards at Sky can just do any of that makeup stuff. You've not done a hamstring at all. That's just makeup wizardry.
It's a grade 2. It's a grade 2 tear. Anyway,
it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a grade 2 tear on a hamstring. There, I said it.
Mate, your mate and mine, Alan Pearce, told me that it's very, very close to a 2. It's about as
close. It was a 2 a second ago. It's close to a 2 now.
It's a 2. Look, we need to move on because it's time to go. Ricky Herbert, absolute pleasure seeing you. I hope you're not a stranger on the old and improved Kiwi Football Fix.
Cheers. Great to be here. Thank you.
And Seamus Martin, we'll see you around, no doubt.
I hope so. I'd better expand the football shirt repertoire.
Don't say anything, Ricky. Don't say anything. We leave you tonight on the Kiwi Football Fix with the fans at Anfield just raving and chanting Mo Salah's name. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, Wellington Phoenix are up against Newcastle Jets on Saturday night. See you next time on the Kiwi Football Fix.